What's your favorite scary movie?
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
That the power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Here's Johnny! I see dead people.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
It's showtime.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Terror Talks. We are here on Season 2, Episode 2, where we're having a little bit of a different episode for you today. Today I am joined by my good buddies, Aidan and Daniel. Say hello to the folks, boys.
Hello. Hello. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, it is so good to have you both back here on the show. It has been a long time, it feels like, since we've had y'all on an episode, so I'm very, very excited to get going with this one and just seeing, what we get out of this. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and we are going to have a really good time with it.
Yeah, considering this is more of a spur of the moment kind of thing, yes, I do believe this is going to be a juicy topic, especially for some gamers out there.
Yes, this is definitely going to be one we have not done quite like this before. Today we're going to be talking about Call of Duty. So it's a little weird. Some of you are probably saying, what does Call of Duty have to do with a horror podcast? And I'm glad you asked. We're specifically talking about Call of Duty Zombies. So for those of you who are big in the gaming world, you have had a chance to play these amazing Call of Duty zombie maps, and we thought it would be fun to just sort of dive into our top 10 lists. We've each made a top 10 list. Hopefully none of them are going to change throughout this. Then again, we could run into some shocking moments and ones where we go, hey, you know what, I hadn't thought of that before. So it'll be interesting to just sort of see where this sort of goes. But we've each made a list of top 10, and we're just going to sort of see what happens, give our explanations as to why it is our top 10, and just have a good time with it. So this is a little bit of a different episode, a little bit, I guess you could say, more laid back, really spur of the moment sort of thing. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to turn it over to Aidan, who is going to begin the proceedings off for us. So take it away, Aidan.
All right. So right now we share a Discord server between each other. So Daniel and I are going to post our top 10s, and we're going to have our initial reaction. And I guess for any post processing, like if this is going to go up on YouTube or anything, I guess Jeremy can take the screenshots and put them up there in the YouTube video for people to see visually. But we'll take some time going through it. So the people who see our reactions first off, you're not going to know like why we're reacting this way. But once we start moving to the list, you'll probably make sense, and you're probably going to start pulling your hair at some of these. But we'll see. So I'm going to go and post mine first, and then I guess Danny, just do yours immediately after, and we'll see what's going on here. All right, I'm going to post mine now.
What?
Oh my god.
What? You put that there?
Oh my god. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Well, Jeremy sending his.
Oh,
Of course.
the curveball. We got Jeremy's up. Oh, and who could have predicted it? All right. So,
wow. Interesting.
Who do we want to throw through the ring of fire first?
Well, I think we should start with you, Aidan, just because you were the first one out the gate. We'll start with your number 10, then we'll let Daniel do his number 10, and then I'll do mine, and we'll just sort of go from there.
So, with good news, my map my map choice did make it on everyone else's list. So at number 10, for me, by the way, number 10, we have Call of the Dead. Now, the reason why this breaks my top 10, this is like an entry thing. I mean, it was like the first zombies map to kind of like change it up. I mean, we had 5, but 5 was executed pretty poorly. I would say, especially with the Nova crawlers and a couple of the elements in the map itself was just a little bit too cramped. But Call of the Dead was a nice open map, and we had some really cool, 80s and just iconic actors. We even had George Romero on the map, although George Romero was a little annoying. We can't put too much hate on him. And we also had some pretty interesting wonder weapons, such as the Scavenger and the VR-11, which would turn zombies into humans. And even from that, we had the musical Easter egg featuring Avenged Sevenfold. And even just completing the main story of the Easter egg, you got the Wunderwaffe at the very end of it. So all in all, it was a very well done map. But it just doesn't have just everything that just has the exact wow factor. But it definitely breaks in the top 10 and being just memorable.
Okay, so interesting one for 10. I have to admit, and I'm sure if y'all see, I think if we look at all of our lists, we see that it is on each of ours. We're not going to say where it is on each of ours, but
Yeah.
we all know where it is. So, Daniel, why don't you walk us through your number 10?
All right, for my number 10, I had Origins specifically from Black Ops 3, not from Black Ops 2. And I'll tell you why. Because in Origins, you get 4 staffs: fire, ice, wind, and lightning. And they are amazing, especially when upgraded. It was also the first map I ever did an Easter egg on. So it holds a special place in my heart. The reason it's at number 10 is because, 1, the mud slows you down immensely and can get you killed without Speed Cola, a perk. And the Panzer Soldats, which you can only kill if you have a ray gun. So it puts a damper on things, but it still holds a place in my heart. So at number 10 on my list.
Okay, and I guess y'all are ready to hear. I mean, you've already seen what Jeremy's number 10 is, but I guess y'all are ready to understand why.
I don't understand it. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
So, my number 10 is Nuketown. And the reason that it is number 10, in fact, the reason it made the list at all, is more or less for the sort of nostalgia quality of it. And what I mean by that, hear me out. I know it comes as a shock to some. It was one of those maps that I think we played all the time, and whether it was multiplayer or whether it was zombies, it was one we played quite frequently, and so having it as a zombies map was just a really cool thing to have, because it was one of those maps that were near and dear to our hearts, just all throughout Call of Duty in general. And so for me, I felt like it was just really nice to have it. It was good. You could really do some serious training. Those of you who are hardcore zombies, you know exactly what we're talking about. And yeah, I just thought it was a good one to have. It definitely hit the nostalgia for me. And it was just a good one to sort of hang out with the boys and have a good time on.
Yeah, with you bringing up the fact that it was a multiplayer map turned zombies, I guess, that kind of drives home the fact that it's such an iconic map. I mean, it's even in Call of Duty Cold War multiplayer. Like that's how often, Nuketown is reiterated. Like, it's come all the way up to the most recent Treyarch Call of Duty. So, I mean, I kind of understand why it's in the number 10. It definitely is a bit of a strong map, but yeah, I'll just let you leave your opinions on that. I can see it, but I definitely don't share the same feelings. But it's all right.
All right, Aidan, what is your number? Actually, let's change it up. Daniel, give us your number 9.
My number 9 is Kino der Toten, which is from Black Ops 1. The reason why it is at number 9 is because it was, in fact, the first zombies map I ever played on. While I did play it on the Wii, I did not get a good experience on it because I was young and I couldn't really play it. Pretty bad. Then I got an Xbox and I started learning that it's actually a really decent map. Good for training. There's a little Easter egg on it, playing Samantha Says, which you just find a little doll on. It's not too big. It's not too small either. And it has a repetitive song on it, 115. Great song, but a little repetitive after a while, after you play it multiple times. It's not the greatest map because you can get killed by 6 crawlers, and those are quite annoying as well. But it's a decent map, but that's why it's at number 9.
Okay, interesting. So, Aidan, why don't you tell us what your number 9 is?
Okay, so my number 9 is Revelations from Black Ops 3. It is the final DLC map disregarding Chronicles. It was supposed to be, the end for the Origins crew for zombies, and I still regard it as the end. I didn't buy Black Ops 4. I didn't play Black Ops 4. I just couldn't handle all that timeline messing around. I still regard Black Ops 3 as the true ending. Revelations was definitely the way to go. I do like the fact that they included like little snippets of all the maps and like where the crew has been and the journeys that they've come across and the hardships they've endured just to, basically bring about peace and ending the zombies once and for all. I do appreciate the gift Easter egg song. That is such a great musical piece to accompany the map. And just overall, like the whole feeling of the map and like everything's high stakes. This is it. Even the Easter egg, like, we got to get this done to bring peace once and for all. I mean, it's just really great. But it definitely doesn't make my top 10, with it just being that, even with the snippets, everything, it still feels really messy. Everything's just kind of over the place, and the full of the map isn't really that great. And sometimes the difficulty curve can be a bit of a damper, especially if you don't get some of the good weapons right off the rip.
Okay, so now for my number 9. So, Daniel, I think you'll be a little shocked to see that our number 9s are in sync with each other.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, but all right.
Yep.
Let me hear your piece.
So, my number 9, Kino der Toten. So this one is not one of my favorites, obviously, because it is up there and towards the top. But the reason it made the top 10 at all is kind of like what you said. It was like one of the first zombie maps that, I ever got really decent at, got to do some cool things with it. It was one of the bigger maps, and that's what I liked about it, was like the different places you can go on the map and just sort of, I guess, explore, so to speak. So that sort of made it interesting to play on. And so it really is just like one of those classic original sort of zombie maps for Call of Duty Black Ops 1. A lot of people, they think Black Ops 1, and this is like, I would imagine, one of the first maps they sort of look at and jump to. And so for me, that's like sort of what I equate it with, what it sort of lines up with. So yeah, that's my number 9. All right, I'm going to kick off the proceedings first with my number 8. So my number 8 is 5. And I imagine this is a shocking one for y'all to even see on my list at all. Because I was, I sort of said my case about this map earlier. I was like, it's not really a great map. But the more I thought about it, for me, I loved the sort of aesthetic. You got to play as some really cool characters on that map. And that was something that I don't think we had seen too much of in the Call of Duty universe, the Zombies universe. I mean, you were playing as JFK, for crying out loud. I mean,
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Right, that's pretty cool to be able to have that experience. And so I like that. I love the sort of dark, very eerie feel of the Pentagon has been overrun sort of situation. So it was really, really cool. So yeah, that is my number 8. So Aidan, what is your number 8?
My number 8, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Shadows of Evil from Black Ops 3.
Oh,
Now,
I did not see this
with as
coming.
many times as it's been memed, and as much as I hate that the Easter egg requires 4 people, I do have to say it was very innovative. So starting off, you are greeted in kind of like a Prohibition era city with these new characters that are, voice acted by some pretty talented people, including, the wondrous Jeff Goldblum. But aside from that, you're introduced to this new plot line and everything, and you got these weird monsters. And sadly, it was only a one-off because their story for the Easter egg advancement or just a timeline advancement was just so that Richtofen could steal the summoning key. But it was nice just to have a nice change of pace, and just it kind of really breathed new life, and it really gave people a lot of hope because like, oh wow, what's all this new stuff, I wonder what's going to continue on. But it's kind of sucks that they got sidelined in the end. But I do like what it brought to the table with the apothecant sword, the Maristogwa wonder weapon, and the little silver protector that flies around the map and can revive you, and the monorail system to take you around the map. I do appreciate it a lot.
All right, yeah, that is it's an interesting map, and I'm sure when we get to it, people will be they'll either be shocked or they'll be in agreement with where I have it on my list, and I'm actually curious. Honestly, I don't think I looked at Daniel's list too close. I don't think I looked at either one of your lists too close. I just sort of glanced at it. Um, so I'm kind of curious to see if Daniel did have this on his list or not. Daniel, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is Moon from Black Ops 1.
I knew it would
I know
make
this is
it.
probably making Aidan a little interested, so I'm going to just say my piece on this one and let that be that. It's a very cool map. You start off in Area 51. You're right there at the pack-a-punch machine, but you have no points. You have like 500 starting points in 1911, so that's cool. And you hop on the teleporter, and you go straight to the moon. And that is amazing. It looks cool. You get to put on a spacesuit and walk around in space in zero gravity. But it has a couple downfalls. One, if you throw a grenade inside, you will break the windows and you will have to keep your spacesuit on the entire time. Another one are the Nova 6 teleporting crawler things. I don't know their official name, but that is what they are, and they will hurt you if you do not have your helmet on, which could easily be avoided with a helmet. And, of course, the cosmonaut, who will grab you, steal your perks, and I think take money. I could be wrong on that. Aidan, could you correct me on that? Does he take money or does he just take perks?
I don't believe he takes money. I believe he just takes only the perks and also leaves you at one shot and teleports you back to spawn.
Yes, that is correct. But at the same time, it is higher than Kino and Origins because that was the first ever DLC I ever bought for Black Ops 1. Also, it is the end for the Black Ops 1 maps. That is the end of that era sort of thing. And it's nice. Also, the wonder weapon, the wave gun, is so cool because it blows up the zombies and turns them into balloons. It's really amazing. And that is why it is at number 8.
Okay, interesting. I'll just go ahead and say it. Moon has never been one of my favorite maps. In fact, it didn't even make the top 10 for me. I think it's an interesting concept, but it was it was not one of my favorites, to be honest. I don't think it ever was, and I could be alone on that, but yeah. All right, Aidan, what do you have for number 7?
All right, my number 7 is going to be Ascension, but
Ooh.
I'm having a hard time debating if it's going to be between Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 3. I honestly believe Black Ops 1 deserves the title for Ascension, just solely based on the fact that it was the first iteration and the fact that it was such a change of pace from Kino. You had the nice like little theater, it was all quiet and everything, but then you were introduced to the lunar landers, you got to blow up the little rocket ship, and also the fact that you start off the game on a black and white screen and it would fade the color the second you turn on the power. It was really cool. And it was also the first map on Black Ops 1 with the little hidden Easter egg of releasing the Casimir mechanism. It was actually a full-fledged Easter egg, unlike the fly trap from Der Riese. It was finally its own little thing. You didn't get an achievement for it, sadly, but you did get death machines for 130 seconds.
Okay, interesting. A lot of fair points on that one. Yeah, Ascension. That was always a really fun map. I remembered back in the day playing that one, and such a cool way of starting off, and we'll talk about that because it does appear on my list. I won't say where, but it definitely is one that I always really enjoyed. Daniel, what do you have for number 7?
It's funny that Aidan mentioned Der Riese because number 7 is Der Riese on my list, but the World at War version of Der Riese, and I'll tell you why the World at War of Der Riese.
Please do.
Because it was the first time Pack-a-Punch was ever introduced to zombies. In Pack-a-Punch, you throw a weapon in there, your gun becomes a beast killer. It can kill pretty much until a higher rounds. It becomes amazing. And of course, the Easter egg song is a beautiful song. I forget which one it is. Aidan, which one is it again? Yep, Beauty of Annihilation. Huh, funny I said beauty. It's an amazing map. The guns are, well, World War II guns, but they're still amazing. Really, all you need is either a Thompson or an MP40 Pack-a-Punched, or the double barrel Pack-a-Punched, because the double barrel is amazing ray gun also, and the Wunderwaffe. Not the first appearance of the Wunderwaffe, but the Wunderwaffe nonetheless. Pack-a-Punched is by far the greatest wonder weapon, and that is why it is at number 7 on my list.
Okay. Interesting. Very good points. Very good points. So, my number 7, I think this is going to be a little bit of a dagger to Daniel right here. It could be a dagger to Aidan, but I think nowhere near as bad as it hurts Daniel. My number 7 is Call of the Dead. And it is number 7 because it was a map that, I could appreciate for what they did with it, but it's not one that I would play like every single day, but at the same time, it's also not one that I would play as little as some of the other ones. So I love what they did with the whole having George Romero there. I love the actors that they picked to do things on that map. I love the expansiveness of it. But I don't know. It just wasn't one of my favorites. Maybe it was like how dark it was. Maybe it was the snowy sort of wintry scene that I just wasn't a huge fan of. I'm not really sure, but I mean, it wasn't, top 5, but it wasn't, number 10 either. And so, I mean, it does have a special place because I do appreciate what they did with it, but I mean, it's not one that I've just gotta play, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's understandable.
Understandable, I guess.
Yeah, Daniel says that he's plotting ways to get rid of me later. All right, so coming in at number 6, Daniel, give us yours.
My number 6 is, funny enough, 5, which you think would be at 5, but it's not. It's 6.
What an ironicness.
Well, 5, it is by no means a great map, but it has had some fun moments on it. For one, you get to play as, actual historical figures such as John F. Kennedy, Fidel Castro, Robert McNamara, and Richard Nixon fighting zombies in the White House. I mean, how cool is that? You get to be the president and, the president pretty much.
You mean
pretty cool.
You mean the Pentagon, right?
Yeah, Pentagon. My bad, Pentagon. That was my mistake. The
I
Pentagon.
was about to say the White House. That's a new map, right? I've made that one.
It's a custom map I played one time. I was mixing it up, but yeah, it's 5. It's by no means a great map, but I had some fun times on it. The Winter's Howl. It's an all right wonder weapon, but Pack-a-Punched, it is a little better. I hear you, and I hear you vomiting in your mouth, but I liked it. I like the Winter's Howl. I don't really care what you think. It's a great gun, and I did enjoy the Easter egg song, Won't Back Down. That was a good one. That was a really good one. I listened to that one on repeat.
That almost broke my top 10 because of that song.
They brought Tom Petty onto there? What?
No. Eminem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Eminem's Won't Back Down. And
it's not a cover either.
The reason it's not, higher than 6 is because the Pentagon Thief and the Nova Crawlers get in your way. and that's annoying. So that is why it is at number 6.
Okay, interesting. That so like you said, so ironic that 5 is number 6. How cool. All right, for me, coming in at number 6, and this was a tough one to place. I'll be honest. I had a lot of problems.
I'm honestly surprised it's up there. I'm really
Yeah.
surprised.
So I mean, I told you I appreciated what they were doing. Number 6 for me is Die Rise, and like you said, you're surprised to even see that that one made the cut. So I sort of looked at these, for their playability, but also just for the general aesthetic, what they were doing with them. And I thought this was such a intricate map, such a complex map. There was so much just interesting stuff that was going on throughout it that it made it a fun map. It made it an interesting map. You know, we were sort of talking about it earlier before we even knew where these all fell on our list. We talked about how every time you played it, it could be different each time. Like there was in some way, shape, or form, something was going to be different. And one of the things that stands up to that point is, you never know which what is it, which perk thing you're going to get. Because aren't they on the elevator? If I remember correctly, each perk.
Yeah.
They are randomized on elevators.
Yes, and so with that, you never know. It's like, am I gonna get Pack-a-Punch? Am I gonna get Juggernaut? And like, what am I gonna get? And it could literally be anything. It could be something as horrible as you need a little revive. and
Or even Who's Who.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, God.
there's no shortage of like bad perks you could get, but then there's no shortage of good perks either. And so it was a cool map. And again, sort of going back to what I said about Nuketown, it was an interesting map to train on as well. And it just allowed you to do a lot. And again, it was a complex map. You had to understand it and really think about it. But still, to me, it definitely was up there, and it showed sort of like that was Treyarch's way of saying like, this is what we can do, and you're gonna like it.
I don't know about liking it too much, but
Yeah.
honestly, on a quick side note, I'm genuinely shocked at number 5, which I mean we're gonna get to in a little bit, but also my number 6, Daniel probably wants to mutilate me, but I'm going to very much explain why the map D Machine from Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War takes my number 6 spot. And I'm going to be completely honest, it is a very, very like run of the mill standard map, but that's why it's honestly up there so high, because you can seriously sit in the spawn room and grind out as long as you possibly want for how many rounds. You don't have to turn on the power, you don't have to buy any perks. I have made it to at least like round 23 or even higher in just that spawn room alone on a basic level weapon that like I choose to spawn in with. The only downside to D Machine is the fact that the die machine couldn't be upgraded, and the megatons were a pain in the ass as well. Is the fact that they took so much damage that they were just kind of like an artificial difficulty curve for that map. But the die machine was thankfully able to be pack-a-punched in the later updates of Call of Duty Cold War. But as far as just the general flow of the map, I enjoy it a lot. I can always find a spot to train on that map, and I can crank out high rounds consistently, which is why I put it so high up. I used it to get Dark Matter or Dark Aether for my camos in Cold War. So I revere it as just a really solid map that I could always fall back on.
Ooh, there seems to be some discrepancy from Daniel. You have something you'd like to add?
I hate D Machine so much. It's so annoying.
It's just so much so as doing with the megatons and even just the Easter egg. It's a lot of back and forth and redundancy, and even upgrading the wonder weapon is just a bit dumb, really.
Wonder Weapon is dumb. The D Machine sucks.
Yeah, we might have to do a wonder weapons rating eventually.
Maybe.
That would be a good discussion as well, since you want to put the Winter's Howl up so highly.
Hey, it's a good wonder weapon when pack-a-punched.
No, I can't believe you actually considered the Winter's Howl. Anyway,
You like a D machine. I don't want to hear it.
Who wants to jump on the grenade for number 5? Because I'm already ready to flame Jeremy.
Well, well, you will just have to wait because we are going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Hey there, Terra Talk fans. Are you looking for a new way to let your voice be heard? If so, check out our friends at Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for creating your very own podcast. They offer editing tools to create your podcast, which include your audio, listener audio, unique transitions, and custom advertisements. In addition, they'll also help you distribute your podcast to other listener sources, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many others. With this unique app, you also have the chance to get paid for your podcast by simply placing ads for various sponsors in your videos. Best part of it all? It is 100% free. Anchor does all the work for you and makes podcasting as simple as turning on a light. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM. Whether you're new to podcasting, doing it as a hobby, or hosting a professional show, Anchor is the place for you. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here on Season 2, Episode 2 of the Terra Talks. I'm your host, Jeremy, and I'm here with my buddies, Aidan and Daniel.
Yes, welcome back from the commercial break. We are now ready to tear Jeremy limb from limb for the number 5 spot.
His number 5 sucks.
Oh, this is going to be fun. So before the break, we listed off our bottom 5 zombie maps for Call of Duty. And now we're going to be talking about our top 5. And as you've already heard them say several times, they are ready to tear me limb from limb for my number 5. But I can justify it.
Try from this.
So my number 5 is a little map called Transit.
You stink.
So the reason that I put Transit at number 5, when I got Call of Duty Black Ops 2, it was obviously one of the only maps I could ever do because I didn't have all the other maps, all the DLCs and what have you. So I was only used to Transit. But not only that, it was like the first zombie map, if I'm not mistaken, where you didn't just end up in like one location the entire thing. You know, you went to like literally 3 distinct different locations throughout, and I thought that was a really neat thing that we hadn't quite seen before. We hadn't seen something like that. And aesthetically, it was like amazing. Like I feel like it created this very horror post-apocalyptic sort of imagery that a lot of the other maps didn't quite give you. I mean, we had lava, for crying out loud. I hadn't seen any other maps with lava up to this point, and so that was kind of a neat thing. And it was new characters and whatnot as well, so that changed things up a bit. There was just a lot about it that really made it a fun map to play on. And because everything was always different all the time, and you know, if you really dove in, you started doing Easter eggs and stuff, you know, you could jump off in the middle of the cornfields and run around out there to do the Easter egg, and that was always interesting because most often than not, if you jumped off in the cornfields, you were pretty much dead at that point. But every once in a while, you got lucky, and so it was a it was a cool map. It was a different map, and some people just say, "Oh, well, because it's the default map. Nobody really likes that one." But for me, I feel like it was probably one of the strongest default maps we have, and one of the most unique default maps we've ever gotten. Well, apart from one other one, which I am saving for later. I'm keeping that ace very close to my sleeve. But yeah, so number 5 is Transit.
All right. Well, I just have to stop you right there. Look, so I I can agree on some things with it being like an expansive map and like it took you to different locations, but the fact that you just even thought to include the lava is I don't understand where you get that mindset from, that the lava is somehow an interesting factor. It was unnecessary damage that you were kind of forced to take sometimes. Which, I mean, there are achievements for avoiding the lava entirely, especially on like for doing the transit Easter egg. But it's the lava can really be a hindrance. Not only do you move slower, but if zombies get trapped on there, the zombies become fire zombies and they explode if you kill them, which do even more damage to you and can possibly just end your run right there. And not only that, I have to bring up the most atrocious wonder weapon in the entire franchise. The turbine gun? Are you kidding me? It's a craftable hair dryer. It doesn't do anything for anyone. And the Avogadro that shows up, he's literally a pushover. If you get an EMP grenade from the mystery box, he's gone. He's done. That's literally it. That's all it takes. But I can understand, like, as far as like innovation goes, yes. But as far as like just core zombies mechanic and rating it amongst other features, or just like weaponry, like even like wonder weapons or just like enemy types, like I I can't agree with you on that. It's impossible for me to agree. I'm sorry.
Well, we can't all have the right opinions.
Yeah, I already know people are probably molding over my list.
All right, well, it's funny you mentioned that, Aiden, because you're up next. Your number 5, please.
All right, number 5 is going to be, all right, Moon. But it is going to be the Black Ops 3 Moon, because there are, so most people are probably thinking, oh, it's the Nova Crawlers again, isn't it? Well, the Nova Crawlers are in Black Ops 3 Chronicles, but the weaponry is a lot better for Black Ops 3, and you also have the Gobblegums to assist you, but not even that. The movement mechanics of Black Ops 3, the ability to slide around the map even in low gravity, is very much a godsend. I don't know what they were thinking when they thought dolphin diving for 2 games was an acceptable feature, but the sliding really kicked it up a notch, especially for a lot of the old Chronicles maps. But Moon definitely got the boost it needed, and just there was so much innovation in the moon map. Like it blew my mind away that I got to fight zombies on the moon. And even though the cosmonaut was a little bit of a hindrance, I was obsessed with doing the moon Easter egg and blowing up the earth. It was such a cool thing for me, and it launched the whole Black Ops 2 thing. I mean, the reason why lava is on transit is because of the rocket shot from the moon. It's really awesome. And freeing Samantha from her slumber and putting Richtofen in charge, so we got Richtofen controlling the zombies later on. It was really amazing. And even the Coming Home Easter egg song and the hidden song Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold. That was just icing on the cake for me. And just like what Daniel said previously about the wave gun, we also got the QED, which did a bunch of different things. It was a random throwable, and we even had the Gersh devices return, which is always nice to see.
Well, like I said, we can't all have the right opinions. Because
Transit.
Because I still hate Moon. I'll never like Moon. I don't know why. It was so innovative. It was innovative. I'll give them that. Like the idea of zombies on the moon. Okay. I think part of the reason I hate it though is just like, I guess how technical it was. It was like if you walked outside and you didn't put your spacesuit on, it's like, well, great. Now we have that obstacle to overcome. Like Daniel said, you throw a grenade inside, you're getting sucked out into. Well, you're not getting sucked out into space, but then you have to wear your spacesuit the entire time. And I don't know, it was just never my favorite map, and it could have just been because I never did very well on that map at all. Like, that was one map I don't think I could ever make it past like round 2. Like, it was pretty bad.
I tried not to factor in player skill as well for some of my map ratings, but even then, I mean, it's still hard just to think, like, when you think of a map, you think of like all the memories attached to it, and it's hard to think of like just the map like as a core and the experience of the map, like just like your first time seeing it, not just like, oh well, I keep going down, I hate this map.
Right. All right, Daniel, what is your number 5?
All right, my number 5 is Firebase Z from Black Ops Cold War. And I'll tell you why it is number 5. It is because it's a nice, well-rounded map. It's not too hard. It's not too easy either. But it's kind of just like simple in a way, almost. Because great wonder weapon, the Ray K, which is exactly how it sounds. It's a ray gun and an AK-47 in one. Pack-a-punch it. It's beautiful. Also returning to in Firebase Z are the Russian Manglers from Gorod Krovri. We haven't talked about that, but they were a nuisance then. They're not anymore with your brand new Ray K. It's amazing. And just the Easter egg was also easy, but at the same time, slightly annoying. But once you get the hang of it and figure it out, kind of easy in a way, but not too hard, not too bad either. There were little nuisances like the mimics, which hid inside of objects on the ground that you tried to pick up, and they chase you and hurt you. But other than that, great map, well-rounded. That is why it's at number 5.
So many of you don't know this, but Daniel will be selling Black Ops zombie maps at the infomercials next week. His voice, it sounds like he's doing infomercials for us.
Oh yeah, the sales pitch on the Ray K-47 was definitely 100% like just on the nose for like, oh, are you tired of going down or dealing with tough enemies? Well, just roll the Ray K-47 from the mystery box and all of your problems will go away.
Or craft it. You can craft it in the game too. You can make it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely sold on it, and I love the idea of a Ray K-47. That's sort of genius, actually.
Yes, we should try to get Jeremy to update his list a little bit. We should expose him to Cold War and Black Ops 3, like all the maps, and try to get him to formulate more of his opinion. Because for some background information here, I have played every Treyarch Zombies up to Cold War, but excluding Black Ops 4. Daniel has played every Treyarch Zombies, including Black Ops 4, and Jeremy has played, unfortunately, only up to Shadows of Evil. Because I guess he just didn't get the DLC for Black Ops 3 and he just didn't play long enough to be that invested into it. But I do want him to build some more of his, experience on the newer Zombies maps for Black Ops 3 and just Cold War to formulate his opinions. Because I honestly believe Cold War is the best iteration of Zombies, which is, you're going to see a lot of Cold War maps on my list the second we start going up. But yeah, we can move on to the next one.
All right, Daniel. Give us your number 4.
All right. My number 4 is, in fact, Mob of the Dead.
Ooh.
And now, I don't know Aidan's opinion on it, but I'll give you my opinion on it first. You see, Mob of the Dead, it was fantastic. It was new, and it was beautiful on Alcatraz Island fighting zombies for survivors, for mob members. And the Easter egg, while extremely tedious and convoluted in many ways, as well as the Warden running around the map, damaging perk machines, so you have to buy it back, damaging the box, so you have to buy it back. He can't damage the Pack-a-Punch machine. I could be wrong about that, but I digress once more. It's just an amazing map. The Blunder Gat with the Acid Gat Pack-a-Punch is beautiful. Also a Warden killer, pretty much. Also, gotta mention one of the greatest lethals besides the monkey bombs, the Hell's Retriever. Also could be made into the Hell's Redeemer once went going through all of that. It's great. But the Mob of the Dead, it was just amazing. It was well made. It was beautiful. as well as the what is it called, Afterlife. Whenever you die, you can go straight into Afterlife and revive yourself. That was amazing, and that's why it's at number 4. It was a good map.
Okay, yes, I do agree with you on like everything you said. Yeah, Mob of the Dead was a really neat map, and I'll talk about that because it's coming up. It's coming up very very soon, actually. Um, yeah, I really agree on everything you said. And Aiden, can we just take a moment to appreciate that Daniel completely turned off the salesman pitch for that one after we said something to him?
I'm not trying to sell that one.
Yeah, it's all well and good. I mean, I definitely have fond memories of playing Mob of the Dead. I kind of wanted to put it in my memory spot, but then I kind of remember Shadows of Evil and just like how much it has done in terms of like, oh hey, look, here's all this new stuff and whatnot. And it was really trying its best to, be out there and just be completely different, especially with, like the special weapons and all that. It was introducing the the ultimate ability of like this featured in the campaign and multiplayer. I really enjoyed that, and it's just I don't know. I just had to replace it with Shadows of Evil, unfortunately. But yes, Mob of the Dead was in my top 10 around like the number 8 to number 9 area, but unfortunately it had to be moved.
Yeah. So my number 4, and I'm not sure if this surprises y'all or not, is Ascension. This map was one of the first, I think, DLC maps I ever got. I want to say I got Call of the Dead and then Ascension, or I might have just gotten them both at the same time. This was always a really cool map for me. I love the way you start out where everything is in black and white. I thought that was a really cool way to start a zombies map. Everything's black and white until you turn the power on. And it sort of just helped with that whole aesthetic that they were going for. It was just very, very cool to see that. And then all the different things you do throughout the map, the teleporters and all those different things, and get the way you get the power on, and just the rocket launching, and there was so many cool just moving parts to this map that it was just done so well. And I feel like they painted this really really cool picture with how they designed it. Like, it had a great look to it, and it's just always been one of my favorites. So yeah, Ascension at number 4.
All right. I guess breaking into my number 4 spot here. This is going to be some head scratchers and some. Are you serious? Like, are you okay? First D Machine, now this. So my number 4 spot is Shangri-La. And
Ooh, I knew it would show up.
At first, okay. This is Black Ops 1 Shangri-La 2. This isn't Black Ops 3 Shangri-La. But when I first got the map, I was like, okay, this is cool. It's a very cramped map. It kind of forces you down a lot of like tight narrow spaces, and even like the ever changing bamboo maze that you have to go through, and the spikes that pop up between the doorways. And they also introduced the ability. Well, I mean, they kind of took from Call of Duty with the zip line and the ice slide and all that, but they introduced like little escape routes, like a mine cart, a waterfall, the little geysers that take you from the caves to the top of the map again. Even with all the movement stuff, we did get the new special zombies, the napalm zombie and the shrieker, and a lot of people didn't really like that. They never featured again after that point. Probably for better, but the fact that it forced you into these choke points, and with these special zombies definitely being a hindrance on your gameplay, and the fact that the Black Ops 1 weapons weren't really that great, it forced me to reevaluate how I was playing zombies and to kind of, level up my gameplay, if you will. Because, I mean, 2010, I was 11 years old at this time. I was entering middle school. And just the fact that I wasn't quite grasping the level of zombies. I would just sit in a corner and camp, and my cousin was like, you got to learn how to train and all that. I was like, I mean, training is cool, but it takes a lot of work. I mean, I can just sit in a corner and just just hang out. But Shangri-La forced me to realize that I can't just sit in a corner, and I was really able to hone my skills in getting out of like like very very narrow spaces. Shooting pixel gaps between zombies to dodge them, and even the little shrink ray. It's a very very interesting little wonder weapon. I would say I would love to see it again, but it was kind of like a one-time thing, unfortunately. And also the Easter egg. I know you need 4 people for it, which is a bit of a bummer. But the fact that you time travel and you got the little eclipse and the weather changing, and the musical Easter egg Paradolia really seals the deal for me as well. It is a fun map.
All right. Good reasoning. Good. I knew this map was going to show up at some point. I had a funny feeling that this one would find its way onto your list. I just was not sure where it would. Just because I remember, and it's funny because I had said something to you about it earlier. I remember you always talking about this map and either playing it or just doing something with it. So I had a funny feeling this one would show up there.
Yeah, the second I discovered that the whole purpose of that map was to basically make you a more agile player, like yeah, I just couldn't stop talking about how it kind of forced people to change their play style, especially if they were more passive or just like kind of casual. It was definitely meant for the people who were just, it was a good training map for people that wanted to practice, just being always in very stressful situations and to always manage, the threat level always being high. And it definitely translates a lot better into later maps at higher rounds for sure.
All right. Well, let's go to number 3, and I guess I will be the one to start this one off. And I'm not sure if this one is a shock or not, but number 3 for me is Mob of the Dead. So the reason I put this one at number 3 is because I had such a strong appreciation for what Treyarch started doing with their maps, especially in the Black Ops 2 area. Like they really branched out and started doing some really really cool things with their maps, and this was one that I always thought was very very innovative and just completely out of left field and different. I mean, a totally different group of characters. You're in Alcatraz and you're literally going through the different levels of Alcatraz. And I mean, how many people can say, they've fought zombies in Alcatraz? Well, I guess everyone who has that map. But um it was just really really cool to get to do that. It was something that was unseen before. Then you have the afterlife thing, again, something no one had ever seen before, something that wasn't really done in zombies before, and it like brought a different sort of caliber to the game. And then you had your epic boss, so to speak, of the warden, who 9 times out of 10 or was pretty easy to defeat, but every once in a while he had your moments where he wasn't so forgiving, wasn't so easy to take down. But there was just so many good things about this. And then aesthetically, talking about the design and the overall look of this map, it was done so perfectly. It was done very beautifully. um you can really look around that map and see the level of detail that went into things on this map, and you can tell like they were going for something really different, really just out of left field and very unique, and they knocked it out of the park with this one. So yeah, that is why Mob of the Dead is number 3. Aidan?
All right. Moving on to my number 3, and honestly, looking over Daniel's list right now, I'm honestly surprised at what his number 3 is. But we're gonna get to that. I'm genuinely extremely shocked over that. But anyways, so my number 3 is going to be Firebase Z from Black Ops Cold War. And the main reason why I value Firebase Z so highly is that there are a lot of mini training spots, and even just running through the whole map as a train. The flow of it is very, very well done. There are a mix of open areas where you can corral the zombies to get them out of their spawns, and then you can lead them through the hallways and whatnot. But I do like the mix of open and close quarters, especially with the center of the map being open and the outer edges, being kind of pass throughs. So Another main feature for FryBC is definitely the Ray K-47. That was a very amazing wonder weapon, and even just pack-a punching it, it'll take you into like the round 40s and 50s with ease. And even the wave defense mechanic was definitely a brand new thing for me, and like just a brand new thing for the franchise. Aside from Gorod Krovi, they had that lockdown sequence and whatnot, and I think Mob of the Dead had a lockdown sequence. But this, for once, was we had a specific objective to it, to protect. They had a health bar, and it was just we got these zombies in these set spawn locations, and they would come in just massive hordes, and you had sentry guns set up defending the position as well. And even with the addition of kill streaks, I would call in a chopper gunner and mow down like an ocean of zombies, and to see all the XP pop up on my screen, it was just so amazing. And even in the later rounds, when the giant Orda monster would come out of the ground and like be right behind the zombies, and it was just a looming threat that you had to take it out amongst the zombies to manage. It was just so great. Like just the selling point of Firebase C 100% got me sucked in, and I played so much of it.
All right. Daniel, what's your number 3?
All right, my number 3 is Revelations. And I know, Aidan, you think that's really weird that it's there.
I'm so impressed.
but let me tell you why it is there. Okay, so first reason why Revelations is at number 3 on my list is because of the Wonder Weapon. The Wonder Weapon is beautiful. I know it. I know. Let me explain. It's the same one from Shadows of Evil, but at least this time there is an upgrade quest where you can upgrade it to make it even better. Another reason why it is my favorite is because I learned this Easter egg a long time ago, and I never got to do it with Aidan. But now we're actually trying to do it once again. And another thing is, if you beat every Easter egg before this one, starting from Shadows of Evil, the Giant, Der Eisendrach, Zetsubo no Shima, and Gorod Krovi, if you do all of them, you can get Takio's katana as a weapon. And I'm pretty sure you can pack a punch it. I could be wrong, but I don't know why you would want to, because it's Takio's katana and it one hits zombies, and that is cool. Another thing is the helmets. I love that. I love the little hats and helmets, except for one hat. One hat is cursed amongst all the rest. Some give you, perma juggernog. Some give you perma stamina up. Some give you perma this and that and whatever. But there's one hat that curses your run, no matter what you do. And that is Al the Weasel Arlington's hat. You can put it on, but be warned, if you put it on, you're going to die. Your game is going to end. Game over. Don't touch that hat. Also, another reason, like Aidan said before when he was talking about his number 9, which was Revelations, was it is the wrap-up. It shows every map you've previously been to. Kino, Verrucht, Nocturne Toten, Origins, Mob of the Dead, just all of these maps in one. And also, he didn't talk about this, but I can because I've actually seen it, is the ending boss fight against the Shadow Man from Shadows of Evil, since he is the looming threat of Black Ops 3, is the different stages and stuff, like Der Eisendrach per se, that has different stages. This one has even more, where you have to hide in certain places, run to a different location while he's throwing apothecant servants at you and just all sorts of just stuff and Margwas. But it's just so cool because it's essentially, in my opinion, and Aidan's, and I'm sure a couple others, the final, big confrontation of the Zombies trilogy, and that is why it is at number 3.
Okay, all right. So a lot of interesting points in there. The whole time Daniel kept laughing. I was waiting for him to just be like, "Yeah, just kidding. It was actually Noctur Toten is my favorite."
No.
Like I'm just waiting for like a Rickroll moment and just be like, "Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just making a joke." But because Aidan seemed genuinely just baffled by those choices. So
yeah, I was, just by the reputation that Revelations had its grip on us, because we're trying to 100% the Easter egg still for Black Ops 3, and Daniel's been holding that Easter egg run for the longest time, and like we get on the map to like kind of practice it, but we never actually do it because we're just waiting for the right moment, and it's just waiting for us, and we just can't we can't get the Easter eggs done fast enough. We keep putting it off, and we keep failing, and finally we're just gonna buckle down and just try to just hammer through it as best as we can and get the ending that we deserve.
All right, and speaking of endings, we are reaching the end of our lists here. So, Aidan, why don't you kick it off with your number 2?
All right, my number 2 spot. We are going to hop back over to Black Ops 3 and into the map of Der Eisendrache. So, this map is basically Origins, but everything bad about it got canned. We got the Panzer Soldats, but they don't matter anymore, because guess what, baby? You remember those little poor staffs that you get? Nah, it doesn't matter. You get bows. Easiest things to unlock and upgrade in the world. Easier than the staff's upgrade quest. 100%. Those bows will carry you all the way well into the 50s and above rounds, especially the Void Bow. I hold that so close to my heart. I have used the Void Bow, the Fire Bow, and the Storm Bow. And the Fire Bow is a really close contender, but the Void Bow just does an excellent job of crowd control. The map, I mean, yeah, it's just snow and Eagle's Nest and all that, but I do like the atmosphere of it. I love the song Dead Again. And just the fact that in and around the ruins of the castle, and also you got some German science projects going on there, and even the Easter egg. The Easter egg is fairly simple to do, and it just feels very rewarding, especially getting all the perks at the end. It is so nice, and even just getting the shield upgraded, the Ragnarok parts. I mean, everything about it. It gears you not only for the Easter egg, but just it gives you everything you need to go for a long time. And even if you don't want to do any of that, you can still put on the Panzers pretty easily with just your basic weapons, because they got nerfed considerably compared to the Origins Panzers. And at least they don't grab you this time as well.
All right. Daniel, number 2,
All right.
please.
My number 2 is we're going back to Cold War, and we're going to talk about Mauer der Toten. And that is set in the 80s, essentially. But there's graffiti everywhere, and you're at the Berlin Wall. But instead of working for the good guys this time, you're actually going to be working for the bad guys. That's right, the bad guys. You've been kidnapped. Your whole squad has been kidnapped, and you have to help them do a thing. And it's a bad thing. You have to release an evil entity onto the world, and they don't like it very much because you end up killing it with a lovely little robot friend who I love him. I forget his name, but he's
Klaus.
amazing. Klaus, that's his name, Klaus. Oh, Klaus. He's a cheeky guy too. He's really cheeky. But another thing is the wonder weapon. Oh, the Cerberus. Cerberus is such a good wonder weapon. There's so many attachments you can just throw on it in the game. When you kill a zombie, they will drop attachments. There's a proton pack practically. It just shoots a gigantic laser. There's a shotgun attachment. And I think there's one more, and a grenade launcher. That is what I was missing. The grenade launcher. All 3 attachments. Perfect. Just amazing. And Pack-a-Punch too. And it one-shots. It constantly one-shots up and down. Really high rounds. It's amazing. Also, the boss fight is beautiful. Different stages. It takes you all around the map. You have to break down. What's her name, Aidan? What was her name again?
Angela Vogel. Yeah,
Vogel?
Dr. Vogel. Yeah.
Dr. Vogel. Yeah, that was her name. You have to fight Dr. Angela Vogel as she's flying around the map with shields, and you have to fight off zombies. And once again, the Manglers are back again. They're always back. The Manglers are evil people. Hide from them. Also, our very best friend, like Aidan was talking about, the Panzers are also back on the map. But they are no match for your wonderful Cerberus wonder weapon, which your entire team can get by completing trials, or you can get a free one by opening a safe. It's pretty simple if you find them around the map. Also, during the boss fight, you can use kill streaks to kill the boss, and it's so rewarding, especially with a chopper gunner or the flamethrower, or a war
Yeah.
machine, really anything. She just goes down instantly. And it's just a beautiful map. The atmosphere, the guns, the perks, everything. 10 out of 10. Great map. But it's not number 1.
Mauder Toten coming to a theater near you. Buy today for $9.99.
If only.
Well, I was waiting for the really fast talking part that you have at the end of a commercial. He was back with his sales pitch for us.
I'm saving that one for my number 1.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I got my sales pitch coming up.
All right, well, my number 2. I think Aidan is a little shocked by this one. I don't know that Daniel is. I think Daniel may have.
I'm not.
I think he saw this coming, but I'm not sure about Aidan. My number 2 is Shadows of Evil. So this map to me is it was such a creative new look for zombies. I thought it created this. You had this new story again, these new characters, and unfortunately, as we said before, it was like a one and done group, and that was sort of upsetting. I wish we could have gotten more. I wish we could have seen where we could have gone. But it was such a neat group, and like you said, they had Jeff Goldblum did some voicing on that, and that was a really neat thing to even have him included on there. I think there was a time where people used to actually go absolutely crazy if they were Jeff Goldblum. They were like, "Oh, am I Jeff Goldblum on this map?" And if they were, they would just get so excited about that. And so that was always a fun little thing just to have that moment with your friends and be like, "Oh, who's Jeff Goldblum today?" And so that was really cool. And then the general aesthetic of it, I love that very hip 1930s sort of flair. You're in the back alleyway. You got the detective. It's very, very film noir, old school sort of thing, and I love that. And it's such an expansive map too. There's a lot of places you can go. I feel like on there, and it's a lot of fun. And I think I told Daniel. Me and Daniel were talking about this a while back, and it's kind of funny that I can relate this map to something I experienced in real life, which was at Halloween Horror Nights this past year. We went there, and they had a haunted house, and you could have sworn you were almost walking into Shadows of Evil in this house. It had the same sort of aesthetic. There wasn't zombies or anything, but it was very 1930s and had all the really old-timey music, the same sort of color scheme, creepy, squid-like monsters. Because, you've got that tentacle monster that you fight in Shadows of Evil that was in the house, too. And so, for me, I just feel like this is such a cool map. It's such a unique map. It was something that hadn't been done before. And, Treyarch knocked it out of the park and gave us something really quite memorable. But, like Daniel said, it is not my number 1.
Are you looking for more content to listen to? Check out our friends at the New Age Philosophers podcast featuring our very own co-host, Brooke. Join them as they discuss topics ranging from philosophy, cryptids, conspiracies, and so much more. No topic is off the table. Just remember to keep an open mind, keep discussing, and don't stop thinking. If you're looking for other interesting content, be sure to give our friends at Gather by the Ghostlight a visit. A theatrical experience podcast. Join them as they gather and read stories from a variety of genres around the Ghostlight, your personal campfire. No matter what you are looking for, both are sure to provide you a fun, informative, and entertaining experience. Check them out today and let them know the Terror Talks sent you.
So before we give away our number 1, do we have any honorable mentions?
I'm just not sure. As far as honorable mentions go, I mean, I don't have a single Black Ops 2 map in here. Honorable mentions would probably go to Mob of the Dead, because I mean, yeah, that definitely was a great change of pace. And Daniel forgot to mention about the Easter egg song, with Johnny Cash and all that. It was it Rusty Cage? Great breaking out of jail and all that. Pretty great one. Even the intro cinematic is iconic. Sal, we must have been through this 50 times, and we'll go through another 50 if we have to. This is it's just that memorable that I know the cutscene like that well. Here we go, boys, courtesy of the Warden's private collection. Handing out all the revolvers after shanking the guard. But I mean, it's just even from the cinematics and everything. I mean, it was a bit of a brutal map, but just like the gore factor. Like all the prison guard zombies with barbed wire wrapped around them, people, like hanging off of spikes and whatnot, the bathtub filled with blood and everything at the drain. I mean, it was a nice, really cool setting, because it was basically, you still had Alcatraz, but they were in their own personal hell. And I like that theme, that, basically they couldn't escape from their past. Even if they broke out of prison, they would never run from it. And, they had to basically end it all by, killing the weasel, which was pretty cool.
Daniel, any honorable mentions for you?
I'm probably gonna honorably mention Shadows of Evil. Like, I do like the map. It just, it leaves a sour, like, sort of taste in my mouth when I think about it, because me and Aidan have tried doing the Easter egg before we knew it required 4 people. We thought we could do it with just 2. We tried it so many times. We killed the boss and we were ready to do the last step, but it required 4 people. So me and Aidan had to just sit there in our really sour victory from defeating the Shadow Man. But unfortunately, it didn't make my list, because it wasn't my favorite. Was not my favorite.
Okay, so I do have an honorable mention, but it's funny because the honorable mention is not one that I've ever played before. And funnily enough, right now I cannot remember the name of it either, but I'm going to honorably mention the map with no name right now in my brain. Maybe one of you can help me remember the name. It is the one y'all were playing on earlier, the one with Takio and the spiders.
Zetsubo no Shima.
Yes, that is my honorable mention. I thought, just watching y'all play it, it was so neat to just see what they did with it, because it almost sort of took me back to another map that I want to say was on Aidan's list. No, actually it wasn't. It sort of took me back to another map though that was really neat. What was the one with the gondolas that I was talking about?
Shinonuma.
Shinonuma. It was very reminiscent of that. I feel like in the feel, the general aesthetic of it, and so obviously Shinonuma wasn't one of my favorites either, having never really played it. But I feel like the two really mirrored each other very well, and they both had a very similar sort of feel to them, and that made it really neat. And so I got to give it an honorable mention, even though I've never played it. It was a map that I definitely would consider playing on. And as I told both of you, I feel like it almost had some minor callbacks to Call of the Dead. And maybe if you play Call of the Dead and then go play this one, you'll see what I mean. But some of the set pieces look almost exact replicas. All right. Well, now it is time for number 1. Who would like to go first? I think, let's see, number 2, who went first on number 2? Did anybody remember?
I think I did.
Aidan did.
All right, Daniel. Well, please reveal to us number 1.
It breaks my heart to see that Aidan put this as number 10, but number 1 for me is Call of the Dead. I love this map so much. And I'll tell you why I love it so much. Because 1, George Romero, the father of the modern zombie film. Zombies would not be a thing without George Romero, because he was so amazing when he did all of his movies. And of course, he's a danger to you in this map. If you even so much as graze him with a bullet, he's going to come charging at you with a light post. That's right, a light post. He will smack you and electrocute you, and the only way to calm him down is to give him a nice cold ice bath. Yup, you throw him in the water and he's okay. He calms down and he just starts following you around, saying the same voice lines over and over and over again. And not to mention the amazing cast of characters you get to play as. Michael Rooker, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, man, and Danny Trejo, Machete, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Who doesn't love that cast of characters? And Merle from The Walking Dead. All 4 of them. Phenomenal. Also, the 2 wonder weapons, the VR-11, kind of not the greatest, but it can calm George down when you pack a punch it. That way, he'll just go away. He'll leave you alone. He won't touch you. As well as the scavenger wonder weapon, which I love. It is probably in my top 10 favorite wonder weapons of all time. Because not only does it blow things up, that's actually all it does is blow things up, but it has a scope on it, and that is cool. Mixed with PhD Flopper, you are golden. Okay, just golden. Of course, I cannot forget to mention one of my favorite Easter egg songs, Not Ready to Die by Avenged Sevenfold, which I loved. Aidan showed me that one whenever I was playing the map again sometime a long time ago. He showed me it, and I loved it. Fell in love with the band as well after I heard that one song. As well as the Easter egg, where not only do you have to play as these 4 new characters, you have to help the 4 original characters out because they are stuck there. So you have to get them out of there. And of course, when you beat it, you get the warm embrace of the world's greatest wonder weapon of all time. All hail the Wonder Waff. That's right, the Wonder Waff. It can kill lines of zombies with only 1 bullet, and it's amazing. The map is beautiful, the aesthetic, everything. 10 out of 10. Play it.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. The Call of the Dead. That's the one, everyone.
Yeah, a quick disclaimer for anyone, or just like a notice. If you have access to any of these maps and you want to replay them, take a trip down memory lane, or just see if we made the right calls, I strongly encourage you to do so. Take some time out of your day. Go ahead and relive the past, or try just see what we're talking about and see if you agree with us or not, or maybe even if you have your own top 10s and the why you don't like them. I mean, you just sit and fester and just disagree with us the whole time. But hopefully some of our maps have made it onto your list as well, and you can agree with our viewpoints here.
Very well said, Aidan. Very well said. So, I guess it's time for me to give my number 1.
Here we go.
There's no surprise here. Not a single bit.
Not a single surprise.
No, there is not. And drum roll, everyone. Nah, just kidding. We know what my number 1 is. It's Kino. No, I'm just kidding. It's Buried, of course. Everyone knows that my favorite one is Buried. Ever since I first played this map, I have been in love with it. Like, the aesthetic of it, the storyline, the setting, everything about this map is just so much fun for me. I love the whole Old West vibe. I love the characters that you play at. I love as the weapons you can get. And since Daniel and Aidan have mentioned so many specifics, I've got to mention a specific. The Ray Gun Mark II. This is the map you finally get this on. And oh my god. Such a good weapon. Like, it does so much for you. Like, it really is pretty awesome. And to get to play with that weapon and use it, like, it was amazing. I love every minute. But I mean, that's just a small reason why I love this map. It really showed Treyarch getting creative, like, even more with this just design of the map. It is truly a beautiful map, because when you fall down the shaft and you end up in the buried town, you literally feel like you have entered into an old Western town with the saloon, with the prison, with all that stuff. And the thing about this map is it has so much replayability because you can do things like make all these different traps. You can let Leroy, or Lewis as we like to call him, out of his cage. I mean, you can do pretty much anything on this map, and it never will be the same experience twice. You know, you can go into the witch's house and get all your points taken, but then camp out on the stairs out back behind the witch's house and, you know, get pack-a-punch from camping there for a while. You can do the Easter egg and just it's just a lot of fun. It is one of my absolute favorites, and I've loved it ever since I first came upon it, and I'm so glad that I did. And I don't think I can ever, like, you cannot change my mind on this. Like, it would take a lot to change my mind. But yeah, number one. I'm sorry. Oh, we almost pushed Buried back. No, number one is Buried. All right, Aiden, you're our last one.
Arriving at my number one spot, Daniel unfortunately talked about it in depth, but I can still reiterate on the points and even capitalize. The Mauer der Toten is my number one spot for Black Ops Cold War. It was the first map that I played when I got Black Ops Cold War, because I didn't want to spend the full $60 on it because of the disappointing launch. But a free week came up when the map just came out, and so I was like, I'll get it and see if I like it, but I'm gonna buy it on sale. So I got on, and Daniel was like, "All right, well, this is what you can do in the new zombies and whatnot, and this is the new map that I can only play because I only had access to that map for the free part." I beat that map within the night. Within like 6 hours of getting on, I beat that map. I beat the Easter egg, got the wonder weapon and everything, and I was like, wow, this is great. So that was my introduction into Cold War Zombies, and I eventually got the game on sale and got to experience the rest. But Mauer, I have spent countless hours training on that map, getting challenges done for the seasons to unlock all the calling cards and max them out. I have gotten countless weapon levels, weapon camos, just doing everything I could possibly do, hunting for all the intel. I mean, I have spent a good amount of time. I have at least spent 5 prestige levels on Mauer alone, probably more actually. Just grinding out on Mauer. It has been such a great map, and the Cerberus Wonder Weapon, it almost. Actually, honestly, it might pass a Wonder Wall. If we would have to do a Wonder Weapon like rating list, because I honestly can't decide if it passes a Wonder Wall or not. I mean, it trumps everything. Krasny Soldats that spawn in, it doesn't have to be Pack-a-Punch, and it'll take him out in at least 10 or less shots. And then obviously you have the attachments with the Swarm upgrade, the little Cutter upgrade, and the little Ghostbusters Plasma Beam upgrade on it as well. I mean, it is just phenomenal. But obviously the best one is the Swarm missiles. And even with the Easter egg and doing the boss fight, it is just amazing. It is a bit finicky at times, especially with stopping the train and grab the warheads. But, it's more about the journey than the destination and the experience along the way. Upgrading Klaus, interacting with Klaus and getting that final cutscene of Klaus walking into the Dark Aether with a nuke in his hands on the final send-off. At first Klaus was kind of abrasive, seemed like a dick. And then finally he's like, well, this is my purpose, was to sacrifice myself for you guys, and it was just a nice ending overall. And every time I play Mauer, I have to upgrade Klaus because he's just my best friend on that map.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. Those are our top 10 maps for Call of Duty Zombies. So be sure to go and try and play these out for yourself. Maybe you have some opinions on, our list, whether you like what we decided on, maybe you don't, maybe you have your own ideas of, let us know. We'd love to see some of your lists. Feel free to send them in. In fact, we'll even make a little thing right here. If we can get all of our listeners to send in their top 10 Call of Duty zombie maps over the next, we'll say the next 2 weeks. Actually, you have until the 1st of March. So when March rolls around, if you can send them in to us by March, we will compile them all into just a general top 10. And then what I think we might do is we might actually go and play the top 10, and then we'll actually reveal it on the show the same day that we play the top 10 as well. So that'll be sort of a cool little thing. So feel free to send us your top 10. You can email them to theterrortalks@gmail.com. Just send that there, subject line top 10 Call of Duty Zombies list. We would love to see what some of you have to say about that. And we can't wait to look at
Just a disclaimer for the map testers here. We do have only the Treyarch titles, Black Ops 4 is not included, but I'm not worried about any Black Ops 4 maps making the top 10 list overall. But yes, we are keeping it limited to Treyarch only for zombies. We didn't count Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare, considering that they kind of had their own take on everything. And we just wanted to keep the Treyarch theme because, they're always evolving with each iteration of the game. So we just wanted to keep that common theme amongst. So keep your list limited to Treyarch, please. And yeah, we will give them a test on the general top 10 to see, what everyone's, the community's opinions are. See if we get anywhere near what everyone else is thinking.
Yes, thank you for throwing that in there, Aidan. That was, I would have completely forgotten about that. But yeah, so go ahead and you can send those lists in. Once again, that's theterrortalks@gmail.com. You can send your list in to us. Or if you just want to reach out and talk to us, feel free to shoot us an email there. We love hearing from you guys. But that is going to do it for us today here on episode 2, season 2 of the Terror Talks, where we're talking about our top 10 Call of Duty zombie maps. If you like this video or this episode, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see. We love hearing from you guys. You can listen to us on all of our listening platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a collection of other ones as well. Be sure to go check out our website. It's listed in the description below to see all of our reviews and such, and you can just see some other great things that we have coming up. Go follow us on all of our social medias as well, and we will be posting things. We try to post every day or post just a little something just to keep up with you guys, and there's always some interesting stuff happening, so just keep an eye out for those things as well. Be sure to go check out our friends over at some of our other friendly podcasts. We have our other co-host, Brooke, who is over at the New Age Philosophers podcast, so go give that a check out. And then go check out our friends over at Gather by the Ghostlight, a theatrical podcast experience. They do a lot of different stories that are written by various authors, so they're very interesting to listen to. Some great content over there. Both of them, go check them all out. But that is going to do it for us today here on episode 2, season 2 of the Terror Talks. My guests today have been Aidan.
Hello, it was nice having me on.
And Daniel.
Hello, I'm the guy that takes some of those pictures that you see.
It's true. They both work freelance for me. But is there anything you guys would like to add? Any plugs? Anything y'all want to share with the listeners?
No. If we end up finalizing that list for the top 10 and just getting everyone's general feedback, I might make a YouTube video about it. Just be advised, the content guidelines are probably not what you're going to expect on a podcast. Maybe some profanity, if anything, because I do minimum editing, and I just try to have as much no filter as possible. Just the fact that I don't really like censoring a lot of that stuff. But it won't be anything too crazy. But yes, we will give our honest reviews on what if we agree with the community or not for their generalized top 10 list. But yes, I might make a video about it and upload it to YouTube, and I'll probably plug that at a later time whenever the time is needed.
All right, awesome. Daniel, anything from you?
No plugs. I ain't got nothing.
Good answer. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for joining us again on another episode of the Terror Talks. Jeez, we talked for a while. It was an hour and a half long episode. Gotta love it.
Good.
Lots to talk about. But until next time, be safe out there. Don't text and drive. And be excellent to each other. We'll see you in the fog.